I'd guess close to a year ago, we got invited to tag along with some friends to explore Utah. Our plan was to drive 15 hours from Kentucky to Oklahoma as sort of a halfway point. We had made reservations at Foss State Park, and when we arrived there, it was well after dark. Once we got things set up, we had a quick bite to eat and just went on to bed. The sky was clear, and I did manage to get a few shots of the stars. Next morning, we were greeted with a pleasant water overlook that we hadn't even realized was there. We left as quickly as we arrived, and had another long drive ahead of us. Hi, I'm Nick, and this is Raven's Eye Off-Road. We had a few waypoints mapped out for camp and started making our way to them. We found a pull-off spot for a nice view. We thought these were breathtaking at the time, not knowing what was to come. Luckily, the storm stopped long enough for us to get to our real first campsite, which turned out to be a group favorite. It was relatively flat with nice rocky surroundings. Another storm approach had us scrambling to get camp set up and dinner made. Just look at these clouds. I woke up thinking I'd surely landed on Mars. The landscape was incredible and unlike anything I've seen in Kentucky. This was my youngest daughter's favorite spot. She would have been happy enough just to stay here the remainder of the trip. Plenty of cool rocks to climb on and mud puddles to jump in.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through, no limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
If all this wasn't cool enough, on our way into camp we saw signs for dino tracks, but it was too dark to check them out, so on our way out we stopped by. There we found tracks from Dilophosaurus, which lived in the early Jurassic period, more than 160 million years ago. You might remember them from the original Jurassic Park movie. They had the famous crest that kind of popped out on their head, but there wasn't any evidence that they actually spit the acid or whatever that was. But they were roughly 20 feet long and probably 12 feet tall or more. Their fossils were discovered near Tuba City, which is just where we were. The other prints were not from a dinosaur, but likely a pterodactyl named Pteranodon. This is one of the wing creatures you often see in the movies. They had the gigantic wingspan of 20 feet. This fellow was a local to the area, must have lived just up the road. He was about as friendly as could be and actually gave us a tour of the spot. He showed us all the best tracks. An elderly lady was also there, I presumed a family member, who made authentic Navajo jewelry. My wife bought a few bracelets. A few she said were for protection. They didn't have any that would improve gas mileage, though, I asked. Also, no dinosaur rides were currently available, but I'll post the coordinates in the description below. Stop by and visit this cool site if you are in the area. Once we left the dinosaur tracks, we headed to a place I'm sure you have all heard of, the Grand Canyon. This place was really neat, and I was actually surprised that you could more or less just walk right off the edge. And while that would have made for a nice Wile E. Coyote impression, we all chose to keep our distance. The place was packed, which made it kind of hard to do much besides snap some pics, honestly. However, the location has some historic significance, as this was the landmark of an aviation crash. In 1956, a collision between two aircraft occurred here. A Douglas DC 7 with 58 souls aboard collided with a Lockheed L 1049 Super Constellation. It had 68 souls aboard. Both planes had requested an increase in altitude to avoid storm clouds and were flying using instruments only. Unfortunately, these requests put them on a very close trajectory and resulted in the DC 7's wing clipping part of the Constellation's body. Neither plane could possibly recover, and they both crashed. Review of the wreckage indicates that the pilots tried evasive maneuvers just before. I believe the tower was some sort of monument to the crash, and you could take a tour to the top, but it was only a handful of people each time, and it was just going to not fit in our schedule for the day. The view was absolutely wild, and the pictures won't do it justice at all. This is definitely a place I recommend visiting. Just wear your good shoes and mind your footing. In close proximity to the Grand Canyon was a small outdoor museum dedicated to the Pueblo Indians. The Pueblo Indians used this area for hunting and gathering as well as rituals. They even knew what plants provided medicinal benefits. This walking trail provided another peek into a well-preserved and distant past. And it looks like I even had a fan here. So far, this trip has been awesome. We've seen some really cool views, but have really just gotten our feet wet, or dusty. Here's a sneak peek at our next episode. Definitely subscribe so you don't miss it. We make our way officially into Utah, we find the best camping spot I've ever had, race more storms, and use a black light to search from some locals at camp. Thanks for watching, guys.